Oh.
We got a stamp! We got a peed! We got a stampede!
We got a bead. Hey, yo.
Did you know that Sumo Digital, the same developer behind Sonic All-Stars Racing and other big titles, actually had a free-to-play kart racer that only released a handful of months ago, and that it shared strikingly similar mechanics to the newest Mario Kart? This is Stampede Racing Royale, a 60-player kart racer, and by the time you're watching this, it's been shut down permanently. Which is certainly a surprise for me since they only just had their first season, and their reason for shutting down was unexpected events. And I'm not going to sit here and speculate private life details or anything. I have no idea why it actually shut down. I just found it really interesting that on March 17th, Stampede announced they were shutting down the game in roughly 3 months, but didn't give an exact date. And keep in mind, the game only came out 5 months before that in October. And then only a few weeks later, all the details for Mario Kart World were fully announced for the Switch 2, which was coming out in early June, and also the Knockout Tour game mode, which places it 3 months after the Stampede announcement when Stampede said they were going to be shutting down. And the Knockout Tour game mode in Mario Kart is more or less the main gimmick of Stampede, but I'll talk about that more in a moment. And then a few days after Mario Kart releases, Stampede puts out an announcement saying that there's only a few days left before the servers shut down permanently. And if you're like me, you've probably never even heard of the game. I don't know if the marketing just completely skipped me or what happened. And yes, the player base was pretty low, which is probably one of the various factors that went into it shutting down. But I feel like just a little bit of a campaign saying, hey, no need to spend $500 on a console in the new Mario Kart when our game is pretty similar and is free on both PC and Xbox with crossplay. A golden opportunity was missed, but obviously Mario Kart is still Mario Kart, and other kart racers tend to not do very well. And it's probably just a coincidence that all that stuff lined up. My understanding of the situation is limited. If you want to conspiracy theorize, that's your own business. I'm just here to talk about Stampede. But anyway, that leads us to today, with only a few days left until this game shuts down forever. And after convincing some friends to join me and check it out, I did the only logical thing somebody could do when they knew all their data was going to get deleted in just a few days. I bought the Battle Pass. And so now the goal is to finish the Battle Pass before this game shuts down forever so that Dave the Diver can go out in style. And yes, the main character from the award-winning game, Dave the Diver, is in this game as a free crossover bundle. And so I mentioned how this game draws similarities to the newest Mario Kart, outside of it just being a kart racer, specifically with the knockout mechanic. And so the way the game is set up is that it's composed of 3 rounds on 3 different maps, starting with 60 players, and then the top 40 advance to the next map, and the top 20 players from there, and then the top 20 advance to the final map, where it's a mad dash to the end. And there's also a lot of different modifiers as well that can possibly happen, such as lasers or firewalls that just instantly knock you out of the game if you touch them.
Oh, you went the wrong way, Matthew. Oh.
Yeah, the safe way.
Yeah.
And outside of the modifiers, there's also a lot of different items, just like in other kart racers, that allow you to get an edge or disrupt other people. And all those items get pretty chaotic when you have 60 people all racing together. But that's also a huge part of the charm. You can't really find that anywhere else. And a lot of the maps were really cool and really unique, and I was finding myself pleasantly surprised with a lot of the turns and upside down or on the wall areas. It was really interesting. But ultimately, the niche they were trying to fill with a 60-player party game like Fall Guys except a kart racer ultimately didn't end up working for them. But now, obviously, Mario Kart is carrying that torch, and I'm very curious to see how people down the line are going to respond to the new Mario Kart game mode, and see if just Stampede was ahead of its time or not. And after 15 hours of constant racing, the Battle Pass was finally complete, and I am officially dripped out. And so now all that is left is just to ride into the sunset. And thank you so much for watching, and it would mean the world if you could follow along as I cover all these other games as they shut down. What time is it? How much second?
You got 2 seconds, 1 second. It's 2.
I should have saved it. I don't know why I got rid of this.
Oh, he kicked me.